Hello everybody, this is Jay the Geek, and I'm here to talk to you about WWDC 2017. What you to expect at Apple's annual summer event? Let's find out. Okay, so WWDC is Apple's worldwide developer conference. They hold it every year, usually in the first or second week of June, and it's basically where all these Apple developers come together and attend different seminars and training and stuff like that, and really get some hands-on face-to-face time with the company that they're developing their software applications for. But the most exciting part of WWDC for someone who isn't actually attending the conference is the keynote that Apple holds on the first day of WWDC, where they announce all the new operating systems that will be released in the fall. So now we got so many new devices, the Apple Watch and the Apple TV, 4th generation. There's a lot more operating systems than before that Apple basically is managing and updating and releasing in a single time. So basically you have iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS, 4 new operating systems all in one day. So you usually have a ton of new features, new designs, new tweaks, all that different stuff. Everything that changes on the software side of Apple products typically is announced at WWDC. So if you're a big Apple fan like me, it's a great chance to see all the changes basically that will come on the software side later in the year, or if you're a beta tester, you actually get access to those changes usually right after the keynote or in the public beta, just usually like about a month after. So super exciting time in terms of software, but this year rumors point to it being not only a software event, but also somewhat of a hardware event. In fact, there's a lot in the rumor mill in terms of hardware that could be released in this WWDC event. So that's pretty much why I'm doing a video, because there's a lot more speculation to be done since there is supposed to be hardware released at this keynote instead of just the typical software as has been the case the past few years. So let's talk about the potential hardware that could be released at WWDC 2017. Now, probably the biggest hardware that is being rumored to be released at WWDC 2017 is the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. Now, of course, we have the 12.9-inch iPad Pro that was released first, and then we also have the 9.7-inch iPad Pro that was released in March of 2016, I believe it was. Yeah, it was March of last year. So both of them are getting a little bit old, so they're definitely due for an update. We saw the new low-cost 9.7-inch iPad get released in this March, and it just, seems like a pretty decent device, but obviously it's not a pro iPad by any means. So at WWDC, we should see a 10.5-inch iPad Pro announced with reduced bezels compared to the current iPad Pro models. So rumors have suggested that it could be a completely bezel-less iPad Pro, so that would be really cool. That would be more along the lines of the iPhone 8, which by the way is not coming until September. We shouldn't see anything on the iPhone 8 WWDC. That would be pretty shocking, but people were expecting the 10.5-inch iPad Pro to maybe possibly have a bezel-less design and an embedded home button like the iPhone 8, but newer rumors are pointing to that not being the case. It probably is going to be more of a reduced bezel design, to the point where the bezels aren't quite as big. Because if you look here, I mean, these are pretty big bezels. I mean, these are big. Of course, it's good to have that grip when playing a game or something like that, but overall it would be nice if these were thinner. So I think Apple is probably going to do that. They're probably going to slim down the bezels so that it just looks a little nicer, isn't quite as big, and obviously they can fit more screen in less space. So chances are we're probably going to see just a ever so slight size increase from the 9.7-inch iPad. It's not going to be huge, but some recent case leaks, as you can see here, have suggested that it is going to be just slightly bigger than the 9.7-inch iPad Pro, but not by much. Considering that it is going to add 0.8 inches of screen size, there shouldn't be too much of a size increase there. So overall, you should see reduced bezels and therefore more screen in less space than would have been possible with the previous bezel design. Now, in addition to that, of course, we should see a speed increase, likely something along the lines of an A10X chip. We got the A10 chip in the iPhone 7 Plus and iPhone 7, so usually with the iPads, Apple adds an X to it, and that becomes the iPad processor. So probably an A10X processor is what you could expect for both the new iPad Pros. A small design tweak we should see with both of the iPad Pros is the microphones are going to be moved back to their position that they were on the iPad Air 1, and the same position that we see on the $329 iPad that is out now, the low-cost iPad that was released this March. The microphones are on basically the top, middle, and then right below that on the rear, rather than on the current design. As you can see, there's a microphone like here and here. We should see them like here and then on the top there. So just like they were on the iPad Air 1, basically they're moving back to that design according to the recent case leaks. And in terms of other features for the new iPad Pro, so probably isn't going to be a ton besides the tweaked design for the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro is probably going to keep the same design that we see now, so we shouldn't see reduced bezels on that. We're probably just going to see reduced bezels on the 10.5-inch model, unfortunately, and also expect the 12.9-inch to be more caught up to what the 9.7-inch iPad Pro has now, like the True Tone display, the 4K video recording capability. We don't have that in the 12.9-inch now, so expect it to to get that features and any other new features that the 10.5-inch iPad Pro gets. Chances are they're going to have more of a feature parity, which will be nice because right now you have kind of different features between the two, so it'll be nice that they should hopefully have the same features and you can just pick one size and have the same features across both, so that will be nice. There was also a hint in the 10.3.3 beta of iOS that was released last week. There's these new wallpapers. One of them I'm using here. I downloaded this one online. You should be able to find it pretty easily. They're really nice water, coastal type wallpapers, really great wallpapers for very summerish. I really love that. Those were released as, there was 3 of them released in the 10.3.3 beta, and Apple usually never releases new wallpapers like right before WWDC, so that is a further indication that there likely will be a new device announced, and those will be the wallpapers that will be used in the marketing / ad campaigns or pictures. So expect to see those wallpapers on the new 12.5-inch iPad Pro and 12.9-inch iPad Pro when they are displayed on WWDC. Just another little subtle hint that Apple put in there that we will be getting new iPad Pros at WWDC. Now, moving on from the iPad to the iPhone, like I said earlier, we probably aren't going to see anything on the iPhone 8 at WWDC. If you're expecting something on the iPhone 8, you're probably going to be disappointed. The only thing we could see is maybe some hints in the actual new version of iOS once the beta is released and the code is kind of dug through and stuff. Sometimes there are hints for the new design hidden within like the source code and stuff like that, but chances are we're not going to see anything within the Keynote. Now, they might do what they did with the Mac Pro, where they teased the design and then released it later that year. That was kind of an odd move for Apple. Chances are they're not going to do that with the iPhone 8. They're going to save the hype for September or October whenever they decide to do that Keynote. I don't think they're going to bring that into WWDC, but you know, we could be surprised, but don't expect anything on the iPhone front. Now, moving over to the Mac side of things, we should see some updated / refreshed MacBooks with new Kaby Lake chipsets. Now, the MacBook Pro obviously was just released in 2016. We got the nice new thin design with USB-C. All USB-C was a bit controversial. We got the no glowing Apple logo, that kind of stuff. All those changes were made in 2016, and of course, obviously, we don't expect any of those really to be reversed. Basically, the design should be exactly the same on the 2017 models. There shouldn't be really any tweaks like that. Basically, the only updates that will be done will be to the chipset and maybe to the SSD or graphic cards and RAM. Obviously, you know, computer components are constantly changing, being faster, so basically this will just be a refresh to update the MacBook Pros to be faster than they are now, but nothing that will make you, you know, either rush out and buy a new 2017 one if you have a 2016 one. However, if you do have an older one, these 2017 ones will probably make the new design a little bit more appealing, as you know, they maybe make some small tweaks to improve the design maybe just a little bit, but don't expect anything drastic on the design front. We also should see the capability to add 32 gigabytes of RAM on the 15-inch model, the top of the line 15-inch model, so that is a good option to see. It's 32 gigabytes of RAM coming to the MacBook Pro line for the first time, and like I said, we should see the new Kaby Lake chipsets in the MacBook Pros and maybe some slightly faster components, but nothing, you know, too extreme. The 12-inch MacBook should also see refreshed to new chipsets, but again, nothing too drastic, just some minor updates and refreshes to keep these MacBooks current. On the desktop Mac side of things, we probably won't see any updates, so the rumors really haven't pointed to much. The MacBook Air could possibly receive a small update just to kind of keep it current, as it does seem to be a really good seller for Apple, so Apple could just maybe add an updated chipset in there just to, you know, keep people happy and so they can still sell them, but that's kind of more of a sketchy rumor, not too sure on that front. And there have also been rumors of a brand new device from Apple, not really falling in the iOS or macOS side of things, a completely new category, and this is the Siri speaker, which would basically be a direct competitor to the Amazon Echo or the Google Home device. Probably would be like a round cylindrical type thing like the Amazon Echo, but with Siri functionality. Chances are it probably would hook up to your iPhone or iPad via Bluetooth or something of that nature, but it could be a totally freestanding device that doesn't require any separate devices. It could just be by itself, hook up to Wi-Fi, and expect the same type of Siri functionality that you have on your iPhone or your iPad or Mac. Basically, this will be just a standalone device just for Siri, and probably have a lot of HomeKit integration. Expect Apple to really push that sort of HomeKit integration that they've been pushing for the past couple of years. Probably would be able to do stuff like turn on and off lights and that kind of stuff. So definitely a new territory for Apple. I'm not sure how well something like this would sell, but given the popularity of the Amazon Echo, I expect that this probably could do pretty well. Okay, so that's it for the hardware side of things. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that is possible to be released at WWDC 2017, in addition to all the usual software updates. So talking a little bit about the software, there usually isn't too many rumors of, you know, software updates for WWDC. There usually isn't a ton of info beforehand. Usually is a complete surprise, which does make it kind of fun, but of course we can always do some speculation. One feature that has been rumored for a little bit is the possibility to send money between family and friends or other iMessage users. That could be a feature maybe they finally integrate via Apple Pay or something like that, so that would be kind of cool. One feature I would like to see, I don't know how likely that is, one feature I would really like, of course I don't know if they're going to do this, it's totally speculation, but I would like to see the widgets that are on the screen to the far left. I'd like the ability to drag drag those within the home screen so you can integrate icons and widgets. That would be really cool to create more of a custom home screen similar to what you can do on Android. I think that would be a really cool feature. I know a lot of people would love that. Some more features that could be added to iOS 11 are additional iPad or iPad Pro capability. Considering that refreshed iPad Pros are supposed to be released on stage at WWDC, that would be the perfect time to introduce new iPad specific features for iOS, maybe increased multitasking or just, new features that would allow the iPad Pros to really use their hardware to its full potential. Right now, iOS 10 does a pretty good job of that. You can do, split window multitasking, picture-in-picture video, but nothing extremely advanced compared to the MacBook. So it'd be really cool to see Apple expand the capability, maybe add some sort of file system or something like that for the iPad Pros to make them feel more like a laptop replacement, which is what Apple has been pushing since the release of the iPad Pro. In terms of watchOS, macOS, tvOS, again, pretty much all speculation at this point. Don't expect any major redesigns for macOS, 10.13, iOS 11, watchOS 4, and tvOS. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the software. What would you like to see Apple add in their updated software? What are you looking forward to? What are you hoping for? And what would you like to see them add? And I'll be sure to check out the comments. And one other thing we could see at WWDC, which is kind of a combination between software and hardware, is a new Apple Pencil. So Apple could release a new Apple Pencil that might be compatible maybe with the new iPhone later on, maybe even with the new MacBook trackpads. This has been something that's kind of been hinted at for a little while, and we might see expanded capability for the Apple Pencil within iOS, and maybe a newer design for the Apple Pencil, maybe with like a clip or some sort of eraser integrated in would be really nice. Other rumors have hinted at wireless charging and maybe even a way, to connect it to the iPad Pro. That would be nice, as convenient as, the Apple Pencil as is now is pretty much round and there's no way to really hook it to the iPad Pro or anything. So that would be nice to see integrated into the software of iOS 11, some new features, and also integrated into the hardware of the new iPad Pros, some additional features. So look for an updated Apple Pencil 2. So that's all the stuff you should expect at WWDC 2017. That's pretty much it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like if you did. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And also, like I said, let me know what you're expecting, what you're hoping for at WWDC. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss out on any future geeky content like this. I got a review coming up of this MacBook Pro 2016 with the Touch Bar, so don't miss out on that. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. God bless, have a great day, and bye for now.